So the teacher calls Susie to the front of the classroom. She's a bit nervous, but they're discussing possible future careers, and the teacher asks, "So what do you think you might do when you get to be big like your mum?" The girl looks at her and says, "Diet." You can't explain why a joke is funny or not, but you can explain why it's a joke. Imagine someone pressing on your left shoulder and at the same time you feel a poke on your right calf. You'd twitch. Your brain does the same thing. Activate two parts at the same time unexpectedly, and it twitches and you laugh, but it's not the brain that I want to talk about. It's the mind. Any vertebrate has a brain. Only the rational animal has a mind. Only you can hold concepts, make judgments, and follow logic. Only a person can get a joke. Now, whether you laugh or roll your eyes, that's up to you. First, knock, knock. Who's there? Theodore. Theodore who? The door is stuck. Help me open it. A person named Theodore is different than a concept of a door. Or try this one. How about Italian desserts and Jedi Knights just don't go together at all. And that's the point. Any animal can associate a stimulus with a response, but you do more. You hold concepts, clear or fuzzy, in your mind, and you make judgments. This is more than just being trained or being instinctive to respond a certain way. You decide, you choose, you assent to or dissent from a given statement. You vote, and you are responsible. And how this is connected to humor, it's a little bit harder to explain, but let's try. A person in a suit is serious. A squirrel in a suit is not. But if you didn't vote for the dignity of the first, you would not appreciate the levity of the second. And this is connected to why so much humor is vulgar or from the bathroom, and we'll get to that direction in a second. First, dictators. Vladimir Putin is a dictator who plays hockey. True story, they set up this game for him as a birthday present. They let him score lots of goals, they gave him a big trophy, and then, during his victory lap, he tripped over his own red carpet and fell. Now, if this was a political prisoner falling outside a detention facility, that would not be funny. But for him, it is, because there is a law, the law of gravity, that Putin has no control over. Speaking of gravity, consider an elevator. An elevator in a high-end department store. Two well-dressed young women enter, followed by an older woman, and then the door closes. One of the young women opens a bottle of perfume and says, "Annick Goutal, $450 per ounce." Not to be outdone, the other woman sprays her perfume, Jean Patou, $800 an ounce. The older woman does not say anything, but she prepares to get off the elevator. The other two are staying on, and then, before leaving, she farts. Broccoli, $2 a pound. And we judge that the latter fragrance suits those two women better than the first. They tried to humble her with an expensive scent, and they got humbled with another scent. See, we hold concepts in our minds. Jokes put concepts together that don't fit at all. We make judgments. Jokes put results together that fit all too well. This fitting and not fitting at the same time is connected to how you follow logical arguments. What did the frog do when he lost his scissors? Ripped it. Now, without even trying, when you heard that question, you started thinking over possible answers. Animals learn. They can guess what will follow based on previous experience. People reason. Logic tells us what should happen or what must follow. And it doesn't even matter that frogs can't use scissors. We are past that. The proposition, the frog has lost his scissors, that's already been accepted. You're working from that proposition and you are expecting an office supply. You get an animal noise instead. Knock, knock. Well, who's there? To. To who? Actually, it's to whom. Now, grammar is typically not funny unless you're expecting something totally different, which you might have been if you're familiar with those jokes. Another true story, another one. Pope John the 23rd was once asked in his office how many people work at the Vatican. Now the pontiff leaned back in his chair, scratched his chin, and replied, "About half of them. Your mind expects facts. You were coming up with guesses. You were thinking to yourself, what number would be reasonable? And then you got something that fit even better. Not just a figure from a human resource department, but honesty. Honesty, even more than brevity, is the soul of wit. Concepts, not vague, but made clear. Judgments, true judgments. What is called true. What is not, called false. And valid, if unexpected, valid but unexpected deductions. Which brings us back to Susie's answer. Now, I like this joke, but the joke would not be nearly as funny if the student had intended to offend the teacher or her mother. And yeah, we have equivocation. Big in circumference replaces big in years in her mind. But with that in her mind, Susie then reasons in a way that is perfectly logically sound. And we smile because her innocence outdoes her teacher's practicality. Which points us to how the mind outdoes the nervous system and the brain. Sorry, John Locke, but it's not just association with experience. It's not just training. It does more. It does more than just respond to where and how much. The mind also responds with what and why and how.